The aim of Black Mental Matters is to tell experiences with honesty. Therefore, some discussions may trigger an adverse reaction. If a discussion is beginning to upset you, we advise that you please stop listening and talk to your support team.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to Black Mental Matters, and the crowd goes crazy. I'm Vince the Voice. This is my girl Makeba, your coach, Coach Makeba. How you doing?
Hey, Vince the Voice Bailey. I'm doing pretty good today. I see that you have matched my black and gold. So, yeah, we are both representing this a little bit of upscale, I guess, Black excellence.
Yes, we are. And on that note, before we get into it, but it is so related, you know, the line, boys and girls of all ages, attributed to the youngest and first Black ring announcer for Barnum and Bailey Circus. The brother's name, Jonathan Lee Iverson. What a fascinating story. Heard his story on NPR Makeba, and it's so apropos because his dad, they were from Trinidad and Tobago, the parents. And when Daddy, I want to join the circus, you know, his daddy, boy, there ain't no job. You get the job to take care of the family. The Black excellence, go to school, Black excellence. This is no job. And he became 2 decades, the longest serving ring announcer. He's still a ringmaster. He's still doing it, even though Barnum and Bailey is gone. And what a fascinating story. And the tragic part, let me tell you, I'm gonna spoil it for everybody. The tragic part is when the circus came to New York, and he was going to be able to perform in front of his father. And the day before, he and his father got together, and his father kind of, in a way, apologized or just made amends. He gets out there the next day and does his thing, and guess what? His dad, he felt something on while they were rehearsing. His dad passed away. True story. And so again, this whole concept of Black excellence, that's what we're going to talk about here today. And you called it, baby. So why did you want to do this Black excellence discussion, Makeba?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to have this discussion because that concept is currently in the Black community getting a lot of pushback. And I think that pushback is well deserved. I'm a product of quote unquote Black excellence with the idea of pursuing multiple higher education degrees, speaking in a certain way, having a certain income level. And I've realized throughout the years that's so divisive within our community because it excludes such a large portion of the Black community that makes us feel like some of us are better than each other. So I'm glad that we're talking about this because it's actually been more damaging than uplifting as a whole.
Well, historically, I'm going to take us down the path just a little bit. It was in 1903. It was the book called The Negro Problem. It was edited by Booker T. Washington, authored by W.E.B. Du Bois, where the phrase, the talented 10th, was coined. And the concept at its core recommended that higher education was the place to develop the leadership capacity among the most able 10% of Black Americans. And he, in effect, was arguing that not just African-American educational advancement, not just for that, but also the creation of an elite intelligentsia and leadership class. And many of the historic Black colleges and universities were founded on that principle, with an exceptional class of Black persons who will be best equipped to uplift the race in the first decade of the 20th century. Now here we are today, again, from that talented 10th, we're calling it Black excellence, or I'm going to shorten it up with Blackcellence, like Blackula. It's Blackcellence. And it can be toxic.
Right. Gosh, I just had like the visual just for a great, just like a Netflix spoof on like this Black vampire that bites people and then bites Black people, and then they all of a sudden think that they're better than other Black
It turned bougie. Yes. Yes. How dare
Excellence.
you?
They've got the excellence virus. Yes, but I mean, but on a serious note, it does drive to perfectionism and also the pressure to perform, because having that level of expectation on you as a Black person, especially young people that are just trying to go to school, dealing with being bullied, all the other stuff that just being a young person in school trying to find themselves. Um, you know, comes with all of that, then they are impacted by, the early on having to pin down a career in sixth, seventh, eighth grade, thinking about education, thinking about their appearance, always thinking about, well, gosh, I'm never going to be enough because this is what I want to do. I want to, do anime, or I want to, do graphic design, but that's not seen as Black excellence, because Black excellence is seen as being, a physician or an attorney. And so it's leading a lot of our young Black people to feel that they are not good enough, because this standard of excellence is based on metrics that are external, that aren't internal metrics.
And it's never satisfied. Even if you are an attorney, even if you are a doctor, you're still striving. It's about always going above and beyond, needing to exceed expectations. And then, as you say, the car you drive, the place you live, the salary you make. I mean, you're constantly grinding, grinding, grinding. And to be honest and listen, this is Black Mental Matters. So this is something that us Black folks, if you don't deal with this or agree with this, turn the channel. But us Black folks got to talk about this thing, because it comes from us always comparing ourselves to the other group out there and saying, okay, do we match? And you'll never be that. So why are you even trying to do that? I mean, that's the question that I always have.
Mhm.
One of the things that I'm so grateful for is growing up in Gary, Indiana, and people talk about Gary, Indiana. But when I grew up, the mayor looked like me, the doctors looked like me, the superintendent, the lawyers, the bad people, the good people, everybody looked like me. So you felt like, hey, you can achieve whatever, and that's good enough. You don't have to do what they're doing down the road. You can be successful and happy, like this. But that's not the case for a lot of people. And so they're measuring themselves up against unrealistic goals.
Yes, 100% spot on, Vince, because it promotes the belief that you have to constantly be proving your worth, especially in predominantly white spaces, which
Mm-hmm.
leads to performance-based self-esteem. It can cause people to feel isolated. The narrow narrative can sometimes favor the definition of success, for the college educated, well spoken, middle upper class individuals, that leaves out many Black people that are still worthy but don't fit that mold. And there are people that don't or can't meet those expectations due to income, disability, incarceration history, and that makes those people feel invisible and excluded, and they are still part of our tribe and our community and our village.
It perpetuates the myth that our acceptance in American society is contingent on how hard we work. And it has been instilled in us an innate determination to push through adversity, beating the odds that are forever stacked against us. And as we talk about mental health, I mean, can you imagine the pressure of waking up every day? I got to prove myself. This is another one of the things, that all the statistics for us, why, more heart attacks, more stress, more mental health, more this, more that, more the other. This is kind of at the base, the root, I believe, Makeba. And thank you again for bringing attention to this of what goes on in our community. That we, it's insatiable in what you're trying to achieve, and you never get a chance to sit back and say, "Wow, this was really good. This was really nice."
Yes, yes.
Mm.
And the excellence narrative often overlooks, just like what you just said, the mental and emotional toll
Mm.
of systemic racism. People may feel like they can't express their vulnerability, their mental health concerns, their sadness, their trauma, for fear of seeming weak or damaging that Black excellent that Black excellence image, and it also prevents people from seeking therapy because, I mean, obviously, you think if if you're a Black excellence, there's no conversation about, well, what about what's going on the inside of you? Are you okay internally? How's your mental health? How are you feeling? Do you like who you are as a person outside of your accomplishments? Like, those are really important questions.
I always would refer to, especially while working in the whole world of workforce, about, we see our fellas, you know, posted up at the liquor store. They got the white tee, they there all day. My thoughts about that a lot of times was that somebody shut them down along the way and told them that they couldn't do something, that they couldn't make it, that you stupid, that you know never gonna be anything like that. And so, I mean, if the bar is not only you have to be a doctor, but you got to be the best doctor. I mean, athletes. Oh my goodness. Everybody puts on the Black athletes. We got to be the best. We got to be the best runners. We got to be the best kickers. We got to be the best throwers. You're not allowed to have a bad game. Let Michael Jordan, when in his heyday, or playoffs is going on now. This one brother, he had a bad day. Oh, they vilified this guy. He brought you all the way to the championships. What the heck are you talking about? So it comes down to, is like, a Black person's worth is determined by their performance. That ain't right. If that's the case, then I got a lot of folks I need to be grading right now. I say, oh, no, it's a lot of pressure, folks. It's a lot.
Yeah, no, it is, and I think we often even forget about people that are within our communities that might have literacy issues. There are so many functioning adults that cannot read, and they hide that. That's such an embarrassment for Black adults that struggle with that. And you would be, well, I mean, you've worked in higher ed, so you've seen it. I know that you worked in the community, but that type of narrative furthers that widening gap because excellence becomes synonymous with, these external metrics and constant productivity, and there's little space for rest or reflection or even joy unless it's earned through hard work. And we have to understand Black excellence, for me, Black excellence looks like Black people resting. I love to see Black people smiling. I love to hear Black people laughing. That is Black excellence.
That is Black excellence. But, as you, and thank you for that. As you mentioned, though, literacy, I worked at a HBCU. That's why I know I'm like Jamaican, got a million jobs. But back in the day, worked at a HBCU in the Delta, a part of America. That's the Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, that part of the world, and learned, Makeba, that it was 45% adult illiteracy. 45%. Not only that, the little town down the street from the university that I was at, that was one of the first times I heard of a school district being, this is back in the early 2000s, of a school district being, what do they call it? A failing school district. There was some term they used on it. But what really made me upset about it was half the staff at the college came from that community. I'm like, what the heck? So, you and I had this conversation, and I hope you don't mind me saying, those pearly gates, they're at the universities. But a lot of times, as soon as you come out those pearly gates, you come yourself into a community that has the worst scores, the highest rates of all the vices and everything. What is that Black excellence doing for the least of these? And when it comes to HBCUs, it's always my thought is they were made to address those issues. Mm-hmm. Where we at, Black excellence? Black excellence?
Yes. And then that goes into our culture of Black kids when they are getting exposed to different, things in school and trying to figure out what they want to do. If they pick something that doesn't align with what, their parents even, or society, whatever, is saying is an excellent career choice, they might want to work with their hands. Mm-hmm. They might want to do sing. They might want to do something that, just like what you're saying, is seen by their community as, well, you're not going to make enough money. And I mean, what it really boils down to is I am not proud to say that that's what you're in school doing. I mean, because that's really what it boils down to. Because people like being able to say, yeah, my son is in blah, blah, blah school and they're studying this, but that same child that's not in school at all and they are happy and healthy and whole, that is what you celebrate, because that takes a lot more work than going to school.
Well, recently talking with Mr. Norman Van Johnson and the whole thing about skilled trades. And in fact, just had a conversation with a gentleman who was here at my house about it. And today, especially, I mean, those are the folks, they don't have to worry about being AI'd out of a job. They're making, six figures in a very short amount of time if they, do their trade. But as you said in the beginning, they're not looked at for some reason as being viable or examples or people we should strive to be like. I have the opinion that all work has dignity. I don't care what it is you're talking about. My daddy had 3 jobs. One of them was at the same time. One of them was as a garbage man. I couldn't believe it. The kids was teasing me. This whole thing again, man, your daddy is a guy. And I was like, man, y'all crazy. Because we 4 boys, Catholic school. Mama got a Cadillac. I didn't know what daddy did. I just knew he always had some money and I would steal change out his pocket, as a kid. But then I saw him coming down the street one day and I said, oh my God, my daddy, but he took care of us. He took care of our family. And the proof is in the pudding. My son's a doctor of mathematics. My brother was a principal at a very young age. I mean, they all did well. We all did all right. Okay. But there was no, my daddy is the head of cardiology at Emory University kind of stuff. He, worked himself into a beautiful providing situation for our family. Black excellence, that don't get it. Just saying I want to be a member of the Black or talented 10th, that don't guarantee it.
Right. And you're also touching upon just the importance of understanding, because I shared that lived experience as, a child of a parent who worked really hard to attain a certain level of success. But that was because, our parents were fighting out of a system that was completely different than what we're looking at today. And if they had not done what they did, you and I would not be sitting here having this conversation.
That's right.
So that is different from, okay, now what are my goals? Am I now lifting my family out of poverty? No, like that's not what I'm doing. What I have to look at, okay, is what is Black excellence for me? Black excellence for me is looking at what my dad did and what he sacrificed and realizing he died before he really had a chance to enjoy it. And now it's up to me to make sure that I have some type of balance in my life where I'm enjoying being alive and not just working to have rest because I've earned it.
I agree with you right there. I think if as long as you're happy with your career and you're able, that to me is what Black excellence is. Again, going back to Gary, Indiana, we have the steel mills. And at one time, that community, my home, you had the highest percentage of Black homeowners there. Everybody had a Riviera, a Buick Deuce and a quarter or a Cadillac. Everybody was rolling in things. But unfortunately, as you say, a lot of times you worked all that time in the steel mill to get to a retirement age, and then they retire, and you hear a year later, they don't get a chance to enjoy the fruits of their labor. So, I mean, there's strategies to all this, but if we are just constantly striving to achieve this, what do we even call this theme of Black excellence? If that's what it is, we're already excellent. Look at me. Look at Makeba. Oh my
Yes,
God.
right. You are excellent because you are here and you are listening to this podcast and you care enough about yourself to delve into some type of aspect of your mental health so that there is self-awareness there. So yes, absolutely. And that's why we're talking about this, because we want everybody to know that the most important thing is you, how you are relating to yourself. Are you giving back to yourself? Self-care, and I used to say this all the time when I used to teach, self-care is an act of revolution. Like self-care is revolutionary. When you get Black people together and we are collectively resting, think about the fact, Vince, that you don't see a lot of Black retirement, Black retire communities.
Mm,
And my parents used to talk about that a lot
mm.
because they used to love Naples, Florida, and they used to talk about how beautiful the retirement community
Beautiful.
was
Yeah.
there. And that's where, they wanted to live in that type of community. And I used to think, man, I wish I could see one day Black people that are elderly, that are okay and in their yards gardening. No, we are out of here because of all the stress, student loans, all the issues that we're going through, watching the news. It's so much. The last thing that we need is to place another weight on ourselves where it's this internal expectation that's driving us further apart within our community.
I just returned recently from Motor City, Detroit. And I tell you what, Detroit is a place, while it's not Naples, Florida, but you do see a lot of Black older couples who have retired and they're traveling. I was in the airport and I was smiling from ear to ear. I mean, maybe both of them was in a wheelchair, or maybe one had a cane and they was walking, they was going somewhere, they were doing. In fact, the people in line in front of me, this older couple, and he had a big old afro, big gray afro. He was pushing his wife, and the airline person was talking to him. Turns out they was on their way to Hawaii, to chill. That is a place because of, again, that hard work, working at the car companies, working in the steel plants and things of Detroit. They were able to afford themselves a life like that. And so I just always like to come back to, that all work has dignity. I don't care what it is. If you enjoy it and it affords a life, for your family, this topic we're talking about, again, Black excellence, it can become a detriment to your mental health and well-being because it's insatiable, but you can see the fruits of that labor. Mom and pops, granddaddy, grandma, they headed to Hawaii and they're going to be sipping on some Mai Tais and smoking some Maui Wowie and having a good time. Hey, that's fine. That's excellent to me.
Yes, yes. And that's why talking about the mental health piece is so important, because as you get older, there's actually a theory that some psychiatrists think that sometimes the human brain is more susceptible to dementia and Alzheimer's if a person is anxious,
Mm,
because they're saying that it might be better if that person is worrying less, so your brain might be more susceptible to dementia and cognitive decline if you're not taking care of yourself and of your physical health. Because if you don't have that when you're older, if you
mm,
don't have your health when
mm.
you're older and you've worked all these years to get to this place, then what was all of this even for?
I had looked up as we were, as always, doing our researches, and I love the weird brown girl. That's her website, and she dove into this whole topic of Black excellence being toxic. I love how she ended it. She was like, "Please remember, you're a living, breathing person and not an emotionless robot manufactured to strive for perfection. Remember all this before the desire to acquire excellence becomes your only redeemable personality trait, because, hey, that's just how it is." I really, she talks about being okay to express yourself. We sometimes clam up because, I'm not as educated as them. I should not speak. That's just how we dress. I shouldn't go there because I don't have, the fine vines of everyone else and things like that. That again is not good for our mental health, not good for our mental psyche, not good for our community. It is separating us.
Mhm.
I know that we are those that love to step and dance and all that good stuff. Oh yeah, I've dropped the bomb now, because a lot of times I found, situations like that, as well as even churches, can separate us. I'm one that wants to bring us together. I don't want to be known as, Vince, who was a Sigma Zuba and went to this church and that church. No, no, no. We're all in this thing together. Let's not separate. Let's not be better than all the time. Let's not look at things like that. And you'll find that'll even make you feel better, I would think. That would make you, whether you're the recipient or the giver, make you even feel better.
Yeah, yeah, and it should, because just like you said, only certain kinds of success are celebrated, and that leaves out people who are poor, neurodivergent, formerly incarcerated, and LGBTQ plus people, because it creates shame and division within the
Mm.
community when we're only celebrating certain types of success.
Mm. Well, Black excellence, or Black excellent, Makeba. I think that we can
Blackula.
always, huh?
Don't get bitten by Blackula. The excellence virus. That
Here
needs
comes
to be in
Black
Netflix.
tonight. Blackcellent is coming to town. Well,
Who's
I,
gonna
I,
play him?
I thank you, for bringing up this. Any final words you have on this, that you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I want Denzel Washington to play Blackula. No, no, I'm kidding. No, no, I just want people just to be mindful when you're talking to young people about Black excellence, because it can be a thing that divides not just people within themselves with how they feel about themselves, but it can also make division within families, where
Mm.
certain cousins are treated differently because they're going to college, and then these accomplishments are just really embellished with all this celebration. And then you've got somebody that's just graduated from technical college. Oh, and I'm not going to get emotional, but I remember at one of my husband's classes graduations, because he's the chairperson at Atlanta Technical College, that he had a student that nobody showed up for his commencement,
Mm.
because that in some families it's just like, oh, okay, you're getting a certification, but if you're graduating from a noteworthy, HBCU or other higher education institution, then it's amplified, and it has nothing to do with who that person is internally. So we just really just kind of just need to pay a little bit more attention to that.
I'm glad you said that too, and I'm just going to add my all my young people out there with the Job Corps program, which has been shut down all around the country. Had an intimate relationship with Job Corps for a couple decades, and so I've seen so many young people change their lives around as a result. And right now, at this very moment, I know this will live out there forever, but at this very moment, a lot of them, 20%, they say at least, are going to homeless shelters and things like that, because this is where they were living. We need to uplift our young people. We need to support them, just as you said, no matter what trade or career path that they choose to have. The gauge of Black excellence to me is that you're happy, you're satisfied, and I've seen a lot of Black excellence in that Job Corps program, just as we have at Atlanta Technical College, and those that take the skilled trades. So, let's be real, everybody. Everybody can't be a doctor downtown wearing a white shirt and tie every day. And as I said, in this current climate, AI, can't nobody take those skilled trade jobs away. Can't nobody come fix my air conditioner with no computer. You can't fix my house, my roof, paint my house, all those kinds of things. So let's encourage our young people. Hey, if they're smart and they're getting those great grades, hey, my kids did. They did well and got scholarships, and that's great. But if they didn't have that, best believe they'd either been working on camera number 2 or, or something. We'd have figured out something, or going to a trade school or something like that. So nothing wrong with that at all.
Thank you. Thank you. And in closing, I want to just take us back to where we used to say and think and believe the concept, I'm Black and I'm proud. And it wasn't based on anything that we had to do.
Say
So
it
I want
loud.
us to remember, I'm Black and I'm excellent. And that's not based on anything that you got to go out there and do. Because you are Black, you are excellent.
Amen. I can't say it enough. That's it right there. We thank you so much for joining us again for the Black Mental Matters podcast. Again, you can listen to past episodes, watch past episodes now on YouTube, Spotify, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, also on our website, www.blackmentalmatters.com. And we are a 501. Black Mental Matters is a 501c3. So if you like what you see and you would be moved to make a donation, which would help us continue to grow, there are so many things that we want to do. But right now, Makeba and I, we're just thinking of you all the time. And once we can get our foundation the way we want our foundation, look out, everybody, because Black Mental Matters is what we're all about. So thank you so much.